Hey everyone, Lion Blood here. Figured I'd make a second YouTube video about the Lions since I just watched the Brad Holmes introductory press conference. Some interesting things were said. Bunch of things I liked. So I figured I'd give you guys a rundown on what was said and my thoughts on it. But figure at least at this point I'm going to be directing the channel in a more bullet point items up front and give my own personal views at the end. I guess you don't give a crap about my points of view, at least you'll get the facts right off the bat. So first off, up first was Rod Wood and Sheila Ford. And when asked if the head coach and the GMs actually wanted to work with each other, they responded with that they asked the head coach and GMs they interviewed who they'd like to work with as a head coach or GM opposite them. And they said there was lots of overlap when they asked that question. When the head coaches they were interviewing for and the GMs interviewed, they each apparently overlapped a lot of names. So there's a good chance that they both mentioned each other. Otherwise, I don't know why they would hire somebody if they gave a list of what they wanted and be like, all right, well, we're just not going to pick anybody on that list then. And head coaches wanting to work for, same situation. It's like, well, I want to work for like these GMs, and like, oh, okay, well, we're going to draft this person or we're going to sign this person. It's like, I don't really see that happening. Then they brought up Brad Holmes. There wasn't really much else said for Rod Wood and Sheila Ford. Just basically puff pieces, in my opinion. But Brad Holmes, he seemed very excited. Obviously, he just first-time GM, but he seemed very excited. Found out he interviewed for a PR internship for the Lions when he was interviewing for the Rams one as well. He just picked the Rams. I'm not sure if they were still in St. Louis at the time. I believe so. So I kind of understand why he chose St. Louis over Detroit, honestly. First, he said the first interview was mostly just getting to know each other, which was very new to him. It intrigued him a lot when he left and talked to his wife. Apparently, he said, well, that was different. I didn't expect that. It wasn't much talk about football, really. It was just getting to know each other as people to see if your personalities would fit. Kind of like that approach. Don't want someone to work for you that you hate, just butting heads the whole time. At least this way your personalities fit and everything goes well. And the second interview was more about the football side of things. And really, nowadays they record everything. You can see everything you want about someone you want to hire as far as the statistical side of it before you even talk to them anyway. So I kind of like that approach. Another thing he said, his uncle, Luther Bradley, was actually a first-round pick for the Lions back in 1978. So he did actually come up in vacation with his uncle in the Detroit and Michigan area a lot when he was a kid. So he's actually fairly familiar with the area and who we are as people and what we want. He's had a background with the Lions that we didn't really know of, apparently. So that intrigued me. He obviously knows what we go through. He apparently also comes from good stock because his father was an offensive lineman for the Steelers in like the 60s or the 70s or something. Um, Obviously, his last name was Holmes. I didn't do any research on him though. Then, as far as what he wants to do with the team, which is what everyone's waiting on. Basically, no rebuild. Period. Doesn't seem to believe in him because he always wants to put the best team on the field, and by that sense, I guess no team ever rebuilds because GMs always say want to put the best team out on the field every year. In order to rebuild, you really got to suck for a few years on purpose to accumulate draft picks, keep trading away draft picks, get good players to then trade away for more draft picks, so you always suck. This seems to be a different mindset in the football world, apparently, according to his view. He said, always wants to put best team on the field, so he basically is going to be retooling every year. So if we have a great player that we like on defense, say at outside linebacker or something, but he finds a better player, he wants to go get that better player. And it may suck for us as fans when it initially is, if we find a player we like, we love that player, we want to keep that player. It seems like he's always out looking to bring that next person in who can better the franchise. Whether that means trading that player away or just drafting his replacement early until that player starts to show up and play better than the favored player. That may be the better way to go, so we don't feel like he's just sending someone off that we love with no replacement. At least this way we'll be like, dude, our backup is so much better than our starter. At that point, we're going to kind of favor the backup anyway. So I like that. It really shows that no matter who it is, you can always find better, more talented players, and he's always looking to get every single position better. When it comes to drafting, he says he faces a high priority on players with a lot of intangibles. Now, intangibles can mean a lot of things to different people. I don't know what he thinks as intangibles. Probably passion, because he mentioned that in the past, stuff that you can't really measure as far as, height, weight, speed, bench press, how great his footwork is. Probably just something that most people don't have. He places a high focus on getting players like that. He said that's how they did it with the Rams organization. Also with the Rams organization, they kind of ran it as a group in the front office. So just because he was the director of college scouting doesn't mean he didn't have anything to do with pro scouting or even the contract area of things. Says he also spent a lot of time with the coaching staff itself. I don't know why that would be surprising. Maybe it is. To me, I thought everyone kind of was in touch with each other a lot anyway. Maybe not. Maybe I was off base on that. But when they obviously asked him about Stafford and what he plans to do with him, gave the typical public relations GM answer. Everybody will be looked at, blah, 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 no one's expendable, bull crap. They all say that. Everyone has always said that. It's never true. There's always people that they know they can't get rid of. And then that was right after he praised Stafford and for his passion and how good of a player he is. So I feel pretty good about that. I like things I've seen from him. Seems to be that he doesn't want to get rid of Stafford. He understands his importance. Um, he said he wants players with passion. He says that's most important. The passion and will and desire to play and win. And if that's what he wants most out of his players, that's obviously something Stafford has. We've seen it week in, week out when injured, playing with broken back, broken ribs, broken fingers. No matter what, he wants to be out there with his guys. So it seems good for Stafford so far, and for those of you like me who are Stafford homers and want him to stay. So there's that. He also described his ideal head coach as, quote, a leader of men, have poise, presence, confidence, mental toughness, intelligence, and have a passion to develop players. What I got out of that is basically Dan Campbell. I mean, we don't know how smart he is at managing a game because he hasn't done it yet, but everything else sounds like Dan Campbell to a T. He could have said that just because he knew we were going to be hiring him anyway, but I don't know. That could have been the PR standpoint, just trying to make everybody happy. Not sure. If it's true, awesome. I mean, everything seems to be on the same page. He believes teams need to be built through the draft according to head coach's vision and must fit with the scheme and the culture the head coach wants to initiate. Not surprising he wants to build through the draft, considering it's kind of been his gig his whole life. College scout, director of college scouting, ran the draft board. Not a real shocker there that he wants to build through the draft, but that's a good thing because you always overpay in free agency. And I'm sick of overpaying for free agency. Building through the draft is the way to make the Lions better because we're not a high priority area for free agents to visit anyway. So I'm intrigued by that. He's got the right mindset for how everything needs to be built and done. He at least understands it. I keep looking in the wrong direction. It's still new to me. Believes the team needs to build through the draft what the head coach wants. Says the team will be extremely collaborative, aggressively smart, and have rapid evolution. Those sound great. I am all for that. I believe that's something everyone says, though. It's just typical things that they say to make people happy. But again, if it's true and if he believes it and goes forward with it, then we got a secret gem no one knew about in Brad Holmes. If he goes forward with that and pushes forward with that, that could happen. And given the fact that we're kind of going to have an all rookie staff as far as their new positions go, those last three things could really work. The extremely collaborative, aggressively smart, and rapid evolution. When you have a young first-time head coach and defensive coordinator, because possible breaking news, the Lions are reportedly going to sign, per Ian Rappaport, the Saints defensive backs coach. I can't remember the dude's name, but he was a former player, and he's never been a defensive coordinator either. So I'll I might make a video on that. Basically, I'm a little nervous about the amount of newbies we have in new positions, but we'll see how that goes. I'm intrigued by how the newbies they won't be stuck in their ways as far as how things are supposed to go. You know, they won't have like, this is how it's done, this is how we've always done it, this is what's going to happen. No, this is the only thing that makes sense. There shouldn't be any arguing in that. They'll probably all embrace the rapid evolution and pushing for a smarter way to approach things. If you've never done it before, you don't have a history to go back to say, that doesn't make sense, this is the way it's always been done, this is the way we should do it. You know, they'll be more likely to embrace the new way, which could work. At least it worked in the Rams. Sean McVay came in and had a new approach to everything, and it really worked for them. Hopefully that goes our way. Yeah, I already said that one. Sorry. Took notes. All right, my conclusion. Seems that Holmes has knowledge of the area through his uncle Luther, so he knows about our passion for the team and the pain we've went through over all the years. Because through all the years, all the bad times, he says his uncle said we are the greatest fan base in the world because, and I truly think he believes that, because of how we keep showing up. You know, constantly. We've always been bad except for like the 9 years that we had Barry. We've always been, you know, we had one shining year and then things went back to normal and we suck again, and we continued to suck and we continued to suck, and the year badly. But through it all, we kept showing up. We kept cheering. We kept packing the house. So his uncle praised us as a fan base for always having the team on our minds. And he said that made him really excited, because if they can deliver a winner to the area, that would just ignite the fan base, the likes of which has never been seen. And I 100% believe that. You know, when we started 5-0 a few years ago, that I saw Lions gear everywhere. You know, like every third shirt was a Lions shirt, and somebody was wearing a Lions hat if they weren't wearing a Lions shirt. It was insane. Everyone bought in. It was awesome. I believe that same time the cops said the murder rate in Detroit went like straight through the floor. You know, crime was down and everything. It was batshit crazy. So he's really, really excited. I'm really excited that we have such new hires that are so geared up to get going. You know, it doesn't feel like they had a fallback job or anything. It seems like this is like we're making their dreams come true as giving them these jobs. That's really all I got for you. I'm intrigued, yet nervous. It seems like a lot of hype really quick, and we still have the problem of nobody has any experience calling defensive plays. So that'll be interesting. Side note, I'm pretty sure we're going to stick with Darrell Bevell as offensive coordinator. Hasn't been much talk about offensive coordinator, bringing in offensive coordinators. no talk about who he favors as offensive coordinator. So maybe that bodes well for Bevel. Offense wasn't the problem last year. So, yeah, I feel pretty good about Bevel coming back. So, yeah, Saints defensive backs coach. Defense is the defense coordinator. Dan Campbell. Feel good about him as head coach. Brad Holmes. I'm feeling good about him as GM. And I'm liking the fact that it bodes well for Darrell Bevel to retain his offensive coordinator position if he chooses to keep it. So, that's it, everybody. Hope you liked the video.